Jack Edward Alderman was, at the time of his execution, the longest-serving death row prisoner in the United States who has been executed. He had remained on death row for over 33 years. Jack Alderman was born the 29th of May 1951. On the 14th of June 1975 he was convicted for his part in the killing of his wife Barbara Jean Alderman and given the death sentence by the Superior Court of Chatham County, Georgia. His wife was beaten to death with a crescent wrench and choked before being dumped into a creek. On the 1st of April 1985, at a new sentencing trial, he was again sentenced to die. A Times Online article states, Alderman's co-defendant, John Brown, a drug addict and alcoholic, confessed to the murder, but then changed his story to implicate Alderman. Brown claimed that he and Alderman killed Mrs. Alderman together, and that Alderman promised to pay him for his role in the killing. There was no forensic evidence and Alderman was convicted only as a result of statements provided by Brown. The prosecutors, however, maintained that Jack Alderman attempted to defraud $20,000 from his wife's life insurance. Marcel Bollins of The Guardian wrote, Alderman had claimed from the start he was innocent, even refusing to enter into plea bargains that would have spared his life, because that would have meant admitting his culpability. Alderman, Georgia Department of Corrections No. 385,463, was held at the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification Prison in Jackson, Georgia. On the 19th of September 2007, an execution date for Jack Alderman, there was a temporary stay while the Supreme Court decided on the constitutionality of lethal injection. The Law Society, the Bar Council and the charity Reprieve, all organizations in Europe, called on the United Kingdom's then Foreign Secretary to use diplomatic channels to stay the execution of American convict Alderman and end what they called the gross injustice of 34 years. They also sent letters to the Governor and Attorney General of Georgia and its Board of Pardons and Paroles. Alderman was represented free of charge by the London law firm Clifford Chance. He was executed by lethal injection by the U.S. state of Georgia on the 16th of September 2008. Jack Alderman was pronounced dead at 7:25 p.m. EDT at the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification State Prison. Witnesses described Jack Alderman's manner as calm, almost serene, his eyes closed the entire time. For a few minutes before he was declared dead, they said he smiled. He was calm, said Jan Skutch, a media witness from the Savannah Morning News. It was almost antiseptic. Alderman, pronounced dead at 7:25 p.m. Tuesday, had been on death row almost 35 years, longer than any of the 109 death row inmates in Georgia. An accomplice, John Arthur Brown, beat Barbara Alderman with a crescent wrench. Then he and Alderman choked her and put her underwater in a bathtub to be sure she was dead. Brown was paroled in 1987 and died a free man in New York in 2000. Alderman's attorney, Michael Simel, said Tuesday night after he had exhausted his last appeals to the Georgia Parole Board for clemency and to the U.S. Supreme Court that Alderman, 57, was a model prisoner who deserved to have his death sentence reduced to life. Brown didn't have a lick of character, and the same board that refused clemency for Alderman this morning offered Brown parole, Simel said. Alderman has been the model prisoner for 34 years. If that's not enough to get clemency, it's hard to imagine what is. But David Locke, an assistant district attorney in Chatham County, said Alderman instigated the crime. He was more culpable. Without him, the crime would not have taken place, Locke said. No members of Alderman's family witnessed the execution, said Georgia Department of Corrections spokesman Paul Zarkowski. 2 members of Barbara Alderman's family were at the prison but did not witness the execution. Alderman made a recorded statement earlier in the day thanking everyone who made his life better, considering the circumstances, said Zarkowski, paraphrasing the condemned man's comment. Alderman declined a final comment. A chaplain prayed for him, saying at one point, Jack, may Christ free you from excruciating pain. Alderman was administered the lethal injection with needles in both arms while he was strapped down. Alderman did not make a special last meal request. Instead, at 4 p.m. Tuesday he was given the regular prison meal of baked fish, peas, coleslaw, carrots, cheese grits, bun, fruit juice and chocolate cake. He barely touched it, said Zarkowski.